This is ITV. Certainly the best. Thanks again for staying with me on the program TMI Monday. I've got me in the studio the ASU chairman, University of Benin, Professor Julius Yasere. Prof, many thanks for joining us on TMI.
The great environmentalist, the great broadcaster. Thank you for having me on this program this morning.
Thank you, Prof. And I also have with me in the studio an educationist. I'd like to thank Paul Okungbowa for finding time to join us.
Thank you very much, sir.
We're expecting Reverend Timothy Odaro to join this discussion as we look at tertiary education and then a controversy about entry requirements. Of course, this has been on in recent time. Of course, it started with the JAMB cutoff, which was drastically reduced. And then some people came out to say this will have negative impact on education. And then, of course, there was also the talk about the fusion of CROK and Islamic studies on that platform that generated a whole lot of controversy in recent times. And then ASU came up with the strike to press home the demand that raged on for a while, and that strike has been called. Whether those demands have been met, I don't know, but I'm sure Prof will tell us more along those lines. These and lots more will form part of our discussions today on TMI. Some have said this JAMB cutoff mark is unacceptable, but there's always been this issue of controversy surrounding cutoff marks. Whose responsibility is it to fix cutoff mark? Is it the university? Is it JAMB? Is it the federal government? All of these will form part of our discussions today on the show. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Prof, let me start with you.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. The cutoff mark, I thought it was something that was good to help more people gain admission into university. If the cutoff mark is so high that some people who probably are intelligent probably couldn't make that cutoff mark, they are denied. So why is there controversy about the cutoff mark set by JAMB or set for those who wrote JAMB examination for admission to universities?
Obviously, many people stood in awe when the cutoff was reduced to 100, which is about 25% pass mark. Never a time in any university you have such a benchmark for pass mark. But however, let's look at it. All first generation university ever since have also used 200 benchmark. That is 50% pass mark. And can I tell you something? You know, for instance, last year, Uniben with 200 benchmark, we had about 38,000 candidates passing JAMB in Uniben, scoring above 200. And
38,000?
Yes, and only 8,000, thereabout, were admitted into university because there's also a restriction by the same regulatory agency of NUC that says this is the number of students you can accommodate per session. Of course, that is understandable. Like medicine is just only 90 per session and then 10 for direct entry. So how are you going to exceed that? And that is how it goes across several courses in the university. And of course, why then, when the other 30,000 had not been absorbed, why are you now reducing the benchmark to 200? And so that is why I'm telling you that we all stood in, or when the cutoff was reduced to 100 without recourse to the university, the size or university that they're going to absorb of these candidates. And so we see here there's some shady, unknown things that are surrounding this very cutoff. Because when I went out for accreditation in a university in the north, extreme north, of course, I saw there that somebody who scored 150 was reading chemistry, for instance, and I queried, although NUC representative in our team had said that that was not the reason why we had come to that place, that we were just to validate whether the program was okay or not, and so I kept quiet. But however, I saw that in some other clients or some other states in this country, or in some other environments in this country, people with pass mark of less than 200 have been getting admission into the university. And he cannot tell you something, the candidate didn't even write chemistry in JAM.
And he's studying chemistry.
He's studying chemistry, yes.
Okay, that's a matter for a later discussion. But Paul, you have been following this up, as it were. The JAM cutoff mark is not a blessing at all. That's what you're saying.
Well, as far as the right to be educated goes, and as far as nation building goes, and the dependence of society on residual knowledge by its inhabitants go, that's an aberration to the entire process of mental upgrade. Because come to think of it, I have constantly said on this program that there is too much politicking with the educational sector. And when we talk about issues of cutoff mark, for example, let's not forget in view here that we must put into consideration the evolving unabated population growth. And it is this population growth that actually is the pressure cooker, because we have teens within the ages of, let's say, 15 to 19 or 2021, ranging in the millions seeking tertiary institution education. And we say that education is the apex of societal growth and development. And at this point in time, we still don't have enough infrastructural placements that would absorb these people. Look at New York alone. New York has 774 tertiary institutions, including polytechnics, monoteknics, private and federal universities, while Nigeria across our 30 cities would have very copious and colossal population within the ages of persons who seek this particular educational service. This country has less than 500 functional tertiary institutions. So to begin to wager on the issue of cutoff mark, when the main issue on ground has not been addressed, which is the houses to keep these children when you give birth to them, are you going to keep them in the streets? If that is not addressed, then the issue of cutoff mark here becomes a facade or a political statement, so to speak. Because if you have been conducting exams before this time and you get thousands of persons coming through the database, JAM has become a revenue spinner for the federal government. This year they just declared billions for the federal government, and I'm hoping that these billions is...
That was after Federal Inland Revenue accused them of not paying.
Yes. They declared billions now. So let's hope they're putting billions into infrastructural upgrade, which I seriously doubt. Now, all this while, we've been having a benchmark of 200 and above. And we don't have the infrastructural placements to absorb these persons. We don't have the teaching staff to absorb these persons. We don't have the laboratories or the manpower, as it were, within the tertiary institutions to absorb these persons who have scored above 200. And now we are beginning to encourage those who scored less than 150 to begin to prospect for university tertiary institutions, when those who scored above 200 are already in the thousands yet to be absorbed into tertiary institutions. So it's just a political statement. And it's going to destroy educational structure further. And I say this with every form of equivocation and without fear, that this is a politics orchestrated by the Northern Cabal in this country. Because when you look at SSC result, you can as best describe the northern part as zero state. Now, instead of the political class beginning to think of how to ingest revenue, monies into education in the north, encourage education in the north, so that the north can begin to wake up from their slumber. We're playing politics with the country. It's not a case of Musa, go there. Anything you can do, get in. So long as your name is Musa and you're representing Kaduna State. Is this representing states, or are we representing national interest in terms of depending on residual knowledge, as it were, without having to borrow from the West continuously to grow our nation?
Let me push it there. We've got Reverend Timothy Odaro. Reverend Canon Timothy Odaro is a technical education, is also a director at the National Board of Technical Education, always a regular on educational matters on our platform here. Reverend Timothy, many thanks for joining us on the program TMI. You've been following this debate about JAM cutoff mark, and I was saying just before you came that we've had this issue for such a long time, where we say, okay, fine, because JAM cutoff mark is so high, certain people who want to read certain courses can't read those courses. I mean, some of us wanted to read medicine, but we couldn't get the right cutoff mark. We ended up reading chemistry, and eventually we veered away somewhere along the line to do other things. For some people, when this came out, it was like, why the yelling, the screaming, and all the talks about this cutoff mark? I mean, this will help more people to get into the university. Now, Prof painted a picture that, I mean, shocked me. At 200 and above, you have 38,000 people requesting admission in Uniben. Out of those 38,000, only 8,000 eventually will gain admission, which means the 30,000 will not gain admission. Now, when you take the cutoff mark down to 100, 120 as we did this year, that will mean probably about 100,000 people seeking for admission. So what is this a political move, as it were?
It is what I want to say. Education is not an end. It is a means to an end. And what is this end? Economic and national development. To be able to give our people a standard of living, that to be able to harness all our innate resources, to be able to exploit our natural resources. This is the purpose of education, so that the standard of living will be uplifted. So when you come to JAM and others, sometimes I laugh. Why do I laugh? Whether you lower the cutoff mark, that is not the issue. The issue is how many spaces are available. Because if you look at the theory of natural selection, it's those that are endowed that will survive. Those that are less endowed, they will perish. So why are you bringing 120 in? It has no meaning. Because as the prof has said, the spaces we have cannot accommodate all those who have even passed the cutoff mark are setting. So what this means that corruption is encouraged. People cannot come into university through the other side. What do I mean? If all those universities that have declared their cutoff mark openly, so if you find any candidate there by inspection that has less than that 180, 200, then you know that he came in through the back door. So those ones are not subject to this fraud. But other universities have deliberately refused to cut their cutoff mark. Then they can go and bring in anybody who has up to 120 or 130. And they can also leave off those who have 180 because they have nobody to pursue their course. So that's what it means. So therefore, as we are talking now, what are the programs that these people want to study? What are they learning in these universities that is going to stimulate our growth? Analyze it. You will see that most of the courses are not more than business admin, the basic engineering program, mechanical, electrical, the real functional skills that drive the economy. Nobody is talking about that. Is there any university in Nigeria where you study plastic technology? Look around your place, your vehicle, your household goods, your refrigerator, they are all plastic. Where are we studying it in this country? Okay, what of rubber? Rubber technology in the university. Just single out a functional skill and say rubber technology. All the tires that are made from synthetic rubber, they will fail you on the highway. But when those ones that are made from natural rubber, is those ones that will withstand 10 years and it still be there, it will not degrade. Where is the rubber? We are cutting them down to make firewood. And then we are sitting down here talking about bringing people into university. In the University of Benin, what are the courses that are there?
Okay, Prof. Reverend Kano, let me pause it there. Okay. I'll come back to you. But something he said struck you that you probably want to quickly respond.
Yes, I teach rubber technology as a course in University of Benin. But I know what Reverend was talking about.
What he's talking about.
Yes, that emphasis are not on practically oriented courses. That we are just still looking at, service business. That is what it is. Medicine is a service business. And many of these accounting, these high-sounding courses are just to render service. There's no core science, no core technological development, you understand? Yeah. Because university actually is just for research and design. Everybody wants to go to the university. That's the failure of the educational system, Nigerian educational system. Because there was this reason for 6334 system. That is to provide for every child in this country. That at a point, once you are not a university, meant for university. Of course, you are supposed to get into the poly or monotechnics and all that, where you can use your hands. In the university, you may be there to just practically use your brain. That is in terms of design. Designing for those
that's the skills he talked about.
That's the skills we are talking. That's what we are talking about. Yeah. But our educational system, 6334, was supposed to account for that. But is that what is being practiced now? No. Every child now wants to get into the university because it appears as if without university education you cannot survive, and yet you don't have spaces in the university to accommodate all of this. However, reducing the cutoff to 100. What they are saying here is just to legitimize some evil. That is the honest truth. Otherwise, the 30,000 left after the 8,000 admitted into university is supposed to be taken to other universities where they are needed, especially those public universities. But for private universities, if government want to do well, they now subsidize those students in those private universities so that they can afford private university education. That will also tell government that they are not also doing well by providing enough university for our citizens.
Okay. Paul, whose duty is it to set cutoff mark? Is it the university? Is it the Ministry of Education, Federal Ministry of Education? Is it the Nigerian University Commission? Yeah.
It is supposed to be more like a
collaborative
joint agreement between the Federal Ministry of Education and the Nigerian Universities Commission. But what I intend to dichotomize here is most of them, the public is almost most times misled on the concept of cutoff mark as it pertains to getting into the university. You see, the university and the affiliate bodies, as it were, reserve the right to say at 200 benchmark, you pass JAM, you can now prospect to our university with agreements of the Federal University of Education, NUC and all of that. But it doesn't give you or guarantee you an admission space within the university. Because when you pass that cutoff mark, there is what I refer to as the cutoff point, which is often the average performance of candidates who chose that particular course for the particular examination they are writing. So the average performance of those candidates determines eventually what each department will assume as reasonable cutoff points, as entry access points to study these courses. So when NUC and the Federal Ministry of Education comes up with a broad umbrella of, okay, get 200 and above federal universities, 180 for state universities, or 150 polytechnics and all of that, because of population size, the universities begin to streamline. It is not as though examination is still the true test of one's knowledge. You know, this is just, we're having a huge problem of population control. Yeah. And as such, the departments begin to set benchmark. Because if you think of it, why is medicine saying they won't take more than 90 through JAM and 10 via direct entry? It is simply because they have a population challenge. It is not because there are no adequate candidates prospecting to study medicine beyond that particular number. The threshold that faculty can carry, given recourse to the infrastructure the university or that department has or the faculty has, determines eventually the number of persons that comes in to study. So there's a huge disparity between passing the bench cutoff mark, as it were, and getting access into the university. So we must be able to dichotomize and educate the public that it's not just enough that you scored 50 and above, because the universities will also tell you, like University, for example, University of Benin, for example, will tell you that 50 is their pass mark. But 50 doesn't even guarantee you admission. What guarantees you admission is that if 100 persons wrote for a particular faculty, it is the average performance of these 100 persons that determine the cutoff point that eventually grants you access to study that particular course.
But I want to straighten record here. Number one is that the University Senate has the requisite authority to admit candidates into the university. They are the one responsible for education in the university. But the federal government also went and likely have approved some laws for also JAM. And so you now have a log jam between JAM and the University Senate. Whereas it's our responsibility because we own the university, we own the facility, we know how the number of persons we need we can accommodate. But government has also approved another for JAM. Just like to legitimize what he has said, 6,888 candidates last year passed to enter into medicine. And we were taking only 90. 6,800 qualified.
Met all the requirements.
Yes. All the requirements had passed the JAM and all of that. 6,888 passed to enter into medicine. And you are taking only 90. So, that is where we are.
What happens to the balance?
Of course.
They'll stay at home. Okay.
Vagaries.
Reverend Kano. Yeah, what, in your opinion, are we not doing right in dealing with this issue of admission into tertiary institutions?
Yeah,
particularly based on population explosion?
Based on population. You see, what I begin to look at Nigeria, our educational system, you see all this that is coming upon us are self-inflicted. Because a people must look into the future. In my place, they say tomorrow is better than today. So what does that mean? The world is progressively moving forward. And as educational thinkers, you must provide for this expected outcome. But fortunately, we slept. And by the time we woke up, it is already a tragedy. Let me tell you something. You see, Prof was talking of 6334. That is the greatest educational deception in this country. Those who are into it, they will know that it was a great deception. The policy is all right, it is programmed, but it was not properly thought through. If it was properly thought through, all what we are seeing now will not be there. Because, first of all, in Nigeria, you discriminate before HND and BSc.
Yeah.
You are not looking at the course content. You are not looking at what is happening. You just take your decision arbitrarily. As he was saying, the Senate has a power in discarding everything in the university. But that such power of Senate must be exercised within an existing law. It is not arbitrary. The Senate operates under a law that establishes it, and they continue with that. So you begin to see that if we have followed that 64 correctly, that what do we mean? You don't start the whole population at once. Every secondary school in Nigeria was delivered with technological equipment. There is no power to drive it. There were no teachers to teach it. So eventually they all were stolen. And those who purchased those things went to Bulgaria to go and bring equipment that are not functional. Even those who had power to power it, the electric motor will burn under 1 hour. Smoke will come out from it because they were not designed. You see, when you want to buy, for instance, a lathe machine, you are going to tell the manufacturer that it is meant for learners. So it becomes more costly than the one meant for experts, because there were inbuilt system. In case there are errors, you'll be able to accommodate it, and the lathe will still be functioning. So you pay more to safeguard those lathe machines. But none of that we did. We went to go and buy the cheapest. Even thermometers they brought were already reading -40 at room temperature, as if we are in Russia. You see, these are some of the things they did. And so this corruption that we are talking of started many years ago, and it's a canker one. They have been eating us. Now we have come to the verge. Everything has collapsed now. So what a prof was saying, very correct. We cannot continue like this as a people. We have to start. How do we start? JAMB cannot continue to conduct exam every year. It's just like our past school set. So next year, am I going to write school set again so that I will gain admission into university? No. I will hold down my school set until I'm able to get admission. So those who have passed JAMB this year, they are the first people that could not gain admission. Next year, they will be taken first. Those who are coming, they will stay on the stand line. That how Nigerian law school.
How will that impact on the system?
How it's going to impact on the system is this: every higher institution should be equipped, should be expanded. More lecturers will be employed. The existing lecturer will be sent on training, because if you see that there is no continuous professional development in the university, they ask you you write articles, you write books. Very good. They may conduct research, which is good. And at the end, those research, what do we use them for? If research are conducted and you do not use it, then it's not functional. If the university conduct research, they must send it to the industry. So there must be a collaboration between the industry and the university. And the students you are training, you don't train them inside the university as if they will work there. They are meant to serve a society. So the basic minimum requirement should be the standard of their training. Those students must be taken back to the industry to work and see, and eventually they are coming back again. But what do we have in Nigeria? ITF is now a training program. They are supposed to coordinate industrial training. They themselves are not training, which is not the correct thing. They have to coordinate it. So because of that, all the institutions are becoming crowded. No expansion. No new ones are being built. The new ones that are supposed to be built are under politics. Imagine the first Nigerian maritime university. People are dancing with it. You don't dance with such thing. Education is not to be a political program at all. It should not appear any, because it's our life. Education is our life. So it's beyond any political party. It's beyond any administration. It is the collective will of Nigerians. So it must be respected.
Okay. All right. When he mentioned, when he talked about uh, holding jam like a school sat, until there is space for you to get into university. I saw the expression in your faces, so
Yeah.
I probably want to find out from. Let me get Prof's take
Yes,
on that. Yes, that you can hold your jam result like a school sat and wait till you have space.
In biochemistry, there's what we call a feedback inhibition. You know, if we are waiting to admit those who have passed this year before we can assess those who are qualified next year, of course, the next thing you will see is that children in this country will refuse to go to school if you will hold them down. Because ask an average parent whether there's anyone that can contain a girl child sitting at home continuously for a year without doing anything. So that will not work. Because as a 2 year, you have taken the best of this year away into the university. And then maybe, unfortunately, I may not want to use the word relics. But those are the ones that are remaining and all of that. And then you now say, okay, those are the ones next year you need to take. And however, even next year, you won't be able to even accommodate the total that are left in the university. That's the unfortunate thing. Look at the number. What we are saying here is that, yes, so many private universities, about 204 in the last ASFU meeting I attended, we were told have been approved.
Private university.
Private university. In fact, that is the intention. That is where the government, Nigerian government, is gravitating towards. Gravitating towards private university like they have at the secondary school level. They are sharing responsibility as a nation. No social responsibility to citizens of this country. So, but if it is the private university you want to encourage because you no more can run public university, for Christ's sake, help to fund an average or prospective candidate. Help to fund them because they cannot access private university. The funds, in fact, an average for you to read medicine in the private university in the country, you pay an average of about 2.something million naira or 4. And how many Nigerian parents can afford that in a session? Where will you see the millions? And what that eventually portends for us is that we return back to the Stone Age. That is it. So if government is saying, okay, we want only private university like they are, develop the private university, 204, there's space. So now fund them. Okay. Pay for the candidates.
Okay. You wanted to add a comment to that?
I think on the issue of, as an addendum to what the good prof is saying, I think government should, as a matter of urgency, make tertiary institution a private-public partnership engagement. Because we're already faced with population challenge, whether we like it or not. And the only way that I see as a potent and a valued way to get around this is for more federal government subsidized tertiary institutions of learning to be in place. Because the idea of streamlining these numbers portends great danger in terms of metal drain. Because come to think of it, sellotape was a product of mistake. But today, it's a household stationery, both offices and home. People must be allowed to try. Because in the course of trying, you discover that some children don't have the ability to pass theoretically. They might not make first class or 2-1, but they have a residual knowledge that can best be described as the content of certification that I refer to as a certification. Such practical innate skill doesn't have to be deadened because of the streamlined examination processes of getting to the university. So if like the good reverend referenced some time ago, that the JAM result can be validated so as to keep up the flow of continuity with admission, that will portend not just a moral challenge, but a serious mental redundancy. Because we get better by the day. Today, I was very poor in mathematics while in secondary school, but surprisingly, I can solve good maths today, algebra. I have grown. So the process of learning shouldn't be stereotyped. It shouldn't be given a time frame. People must, as a matter of truth, upgrade. Because if I had gone into university at the age I got into university, at the time I got into university, I'm not sure I would have put in better effort if I had taken my time to actually grow. Growing in this state doesn't mean that I've not been taught by the secondary school, but I must be able to psychologically come to a condition where I have, on my own as a person, not because my parents said you have to go to school, begin to imbibe the values of educational pursuit. This innate desire in me will bring out sound result in the university.
Yeah, Reverend, it looks like we're back to you now because it looks like this is where technical education comes in by way of answer to this surging population of prospective candidates. But that is not a very popular thing with most of our youths. Yeah, can you tell us more?
Yeah, you see, while we are talking of this, we are talking of university, we are supposed to be talking of tertiary education. We have polytechnics there, we have College of Health Technology, we have a School of Nursing, we have the colleges of education, we have a Federal College of Education, Technical. So they are out there, but nobody is interested. Why? Because of that divide, which the Nigerian system have put into that place. And who are these? The colonialists, those who benefited from colonial education. They begin to tell you classic philosophy. Look at Greece. Greece is the father of philosophy. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. How is the economy today? When you begin to lay emphasis on things that are not, that don't have in the psychomotor domain, you are stressing cognitive. You are going to have a problem because life is practical, it's not theory. So therefore, we must go back and expand all these tertiary institutions, particularly functional skill. You see, my boys have refused to allow them go to the university because the program they want to pursue are not in the university. What do we do? So they have to go to those schools where they are found. And in outside this country, there is room for growth. You understand me? A man who studied secretarial studies in the technical college. From there, after that, he now went to advance. He did advance. From the advance, he gained admission into College of Education, where he read secretarial studies. From there, he now moved to the university. From there, he did masters. From there, he did PhD. Today, he's a professor. He's more grounded than somebody who came from secondary school and then gained admission into university and read secretarial administration. From there, he went to master. In master's level is theory. In doctorate degree is another theory. So what I'm trying to say is that while the university are designed, what you are designing, you must be also be able to build. You cannot just design and give to people to build it. Since you are error, you must be able to correct. That is one thing. So unless we go back to functional skill, because at this present time we are now, it is functional skill and not courses, broad courses that we have, electrical, electronics. No. My son today is reading marine electronics. It has carved out part of that electronic, mechanical. We have automobile. We have earth-moving equipment. You must specialize. That's what they have done in other countries, not just BSc electrical. There's nothing like that. Because for you to study electrical, you'll be mad. It's very broad, except you want broad and no depth. If you are going to have depth in such a way, you'll be able to contribute to knowledge, narrow it down, and let there be depth. In that way, they will be able to contribute. You begin to see now, people begin to diversify. You now begin to employ people. Then people you have employed, you have the dependent relatives, they are taken care of. You see all this population growth now, will now be trimming down. We'll be trimming them down. Because nobody will crowd in Uniben. Because the program they want to pursue is not even in Uniben. So they look elsewhere. Must you go to university? That is not. You must not go to university. You can be a rubber producer. You are taking into account. If you look at the American National Road Safety and Administration, like our Federal Road Safety, they were asked one question. What is the expiring date of tire? They said they do not know, that they have not been able to conduct enough research. So they left the expiring date of tire to tire manufacturers, rubber producer, and automakers. It is these three that joined together, conducted their research, and gave us what? The expiring date of tire. Not what we are doing in this country. One person rise up, he said the expiring date of tire is 4 years, and he's pursuing it. Nobody has not asked for research. The university is their work to do that research, conduct it and give us a feedback. Nobody, even university professors, are complying with 4 years of tire expiration. So we don't do that in a country where there is technology. So we need to go back and redesign. I give you an example in Edo State. Some time ago, we have 6 technical colleges. But I speak to you now, it is only 4. What happened to the other 2? They have gone down. They have become secondary school again. So gradually, the wheat are becoming tares. You know, instead of the tares becoming wheat, we are gradually moving down the drain. So we must look at these things again. We must look, as the prof has said, we must look at it again. so that all this error will be corrected and Nigerian economy will not have a stunted growth.
All right, Prof, let me come to you because it just tells us something, which is the translation of researchers in tertiary institutions to meet our everyday needs. What do you make of that? Is that happening?
You are aware that you sincerely have products in the market.
Prof, I know what you have personally done.
You know what I am doing in the university.
Yes.
And then I have been able to raise so many industrialists in this environment. Today consultations are coming and all of that. All that we want to state here, that it is the sick that requires a physician. It is the society that needs the university. It's just for government to advise the public that if you want knowledge, if you want to do anything, return back to the university. I said it before, if you want to win Boko Haram war, you come back to university desk for research. Come and look for what researchers have done concerning this and all that. That is the way a country runs. Every country based on its policies on research. Not just on the pages of newspaper, you will say one thing, like even this jam matter we are talking about now. Before reducing it to 100, you are supposed to find out research, the implication, the impact assessment on the public and all that. Not just come on. So there is a town and gown that we have in the university. And the university on its own has been trying. But it's the public that needs, and the government needs to bridge that gap. But however, how can the public even, have they worked? And many people are just, if you know, there's this apathy in the country. Because you go and learn to do one technological or anything, and then you return back, there's no light and all. Then how can you forge ahead from there? So that is the situation here. But what can I tell you something? I want to encourage Edo State government, like they have started now. This issue of technical education. I discovered that technical school in Benin here is being worked on and all of that. I want to thank him and encourage him to continue in that direction, because like the Reverend has said, there's no two-way about it. These are areas that can bring development to this country. Not any other reason.
All right. Thank you very much. By the way, Prof, just like he said, without necessarily blowing his trumpet, he's been very outstanding in actually churning out products. I remember when we did the inter-school quiz and debate competition, some of the products we used, the apple drink he produces, we gave them to the children. I mean, the kids just loved it. That's just one of those several things that he's been doing. Because in chemistry, we say chemistry recreates nature. And he's one man who's been doing so much in that direction. Well, Prof, thank you so much again. Moving forward. Yes, you want to...
Let me discuss with Prof.
Yes.
You see, you are telling us what Prof is doing now. It is not Prof that is supposed to promote those things.
Okay.
It's our entrepreneur. If he's producing fruit drinks in this country that are organic, then you begin to see that it is one of the cure for cancer. Fruit drinks that contain vitamin C.
Yeah.
If he's producing it, then he has no business again in the university. He should move out. Government should bring money. We have a processing fruit. He should handle it.
Oh dear.
So instead of bringing it
going somewhere.
Yes.
bringing concentrate.
Yeah.
That we are drinking that is killing our people.
No, I don't go to concentrate. You understand?
I
know the composition of a fruit.
That's what
and
I'm saying.
I assemble the concentration in my drink.
Exactly.
That's all.
And then you begin to drink it, then your body is nourished.
Yeah.
And as he's doing it more and more, the cost will be going down. Everybody can afford it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, just on the verge of wrapping up, because we're set to take our next discussion segment. Paul, yes, just one quick one. You've always been at the forefront, putting lectures together. What is the psyche of the average prospective candidate for tertiary institution in terms of the cost to go in for, in terms of their disposition to tertiary education, and all of these issues that we've been looking at today?
On a scale of 10, I'll put it on -3, because the pre-university process is an industry in itself that has also been perverted, and as such, the redundancy of mental output in the university begins from within the university, within the secondary school, and after the secondary school, the pre-university environment, before they finally go to university to go and produce nothing but just shams of what education ought to be. At the pre-university level, what you basically see are young people without confidence. Because it's not just enough to put a teacher on the board. You must be able to employ a psychosomatic process of making these persons realize that I am, first of all, a substantial person who has something to offer. Okay. And because society lays so much emphasis on certification, I wanted to quickly reference that because on the area the good Reverend May talked about, common sense will tell you that until we begin to churn out residual knowledge to practical reality and come up with concrete products, we are heading nowhere. We will still remain dependent. But see, when you ask somebody, what school do you want to attend? University. And yet, the technical schools are there, the polytechnics are there, college of education are there, college of agriculture are there. But do you know we have a social problem with these aspects of the educational sector? Yeah. Somebody tells you, you think or you assume this one is not yet educated. Person tells you, I'm studying wood welding at an institute that is specifically welding. And society will not begin to turn to these persons who are taking precise and concise attention to fabrication in this institute. Society will still want to patronize the man who has a broad knowledge or give contract to the man who says he's a professor of electronics or whatever. And all of these has made education in itself, that as the product that turns out from education unappreciable, they are not enticing, and yet people don't have or find inspiration to even pursue education. You don't see an educated man really with certificates piled up in under his armpit and he's walking about. He's educated, he's educated. You see him educated when he speaks. That's the reality, some reality in this country. But ideally, like in Germany, for example, you don't become a professor or a doctor because you've written papers or templates, because you've invented, you've created, you've done something. So until we begin to go back to laying emphasis, very concrete emphasis on certification, which is the content of certification, I don't see a situation where we'll get it right educational-wise, and we cannot in turn begin to inspire these young persons from the secondary school age and the pre-university circle to aspire for knowledge. We've given a stereotype, go to university, but look at the organogram of the average Nigerian graduate. He goes to the university, what are his plans? Ask him. If you doubt, let's take camera and go to University of Benin. Talk to them. When I graduate in 4 years' time, I get a job, I get married, give birth to kids, and die. Nobody really has a very vivid plan on how to add knowledge to society. This knowledge doesn't have to be practical. Like you could be a philosopher, you could be an inspiration, you could be a farmer, you could be this or that. Nobody has this thought and that is how we this is how we kill education. Because the guy who comes with the first class is giving handshake. But how about the guy who seriously read without malpractice, without cheating, got a 2-2? Why don't you weigh into his competence level and let go his certification? Because we lay emphasis on this, we are not inspiring the pre-university environment, and we're not getting anything good from there.
All right, because education is so crucial and so key to our national development, certainly discussing anything that has to do with it will take a whole day. But we just do the best that we can with one little portion and then leave the rest for another day. Well, the controversy certainly will continue until we do the needful, put the right infrastructures in place, the right personality, manpower in place to deepen our education. But one thing is certain from this discussion now is the fact that for us to be able to accommodate the number of prospective candidates year in, year out, we need to expand our universities. We need to expand the infrastructures. We need to expand the personnel. I mean, professors are retiring. How many people are coming in? Some have also said if we're deploying the option of private universities, we need to expand them as well. And those who have license should also have their licenses granted, should also do something in that direction and show that these universities are off the ground. What you see around the country, you have one big signpost which tells you this university is in existence, but you just go in there, what you see is nothing to write home about. But I want to thank our gentleman for coming, Reverend Canon Timothy Godar. Many thanks for coming on the program. Paul Okunbo, thank you so much for coming. And Prof, thank you so much for coming. Keep up the good job. Keep up the good job. Because I know that most of the things that you do is based on personal effort. When you have a vision, it will inspire in you the right passion for you to actualize your dream and aspiration. And we'll continue to also encourage you in our own little way, and let's stir up a partnership, really. Thank you. It's the TMI Monday.
This is ITV. Certainly the best.